Hi, Ewoudt. How are you today?
Hi, good and you, Caroline?
So Ewoudt has done not only did the DMI Pro with the Digital Marketing Institute, he also did one of the specialisms as well, the social media marketing specialism. Now, Ewoudt, I shared a link earlier on in the presentation in the chat box. If anybody wants to sign up for a membership trial, they can go in. But Ewoudt recently partook in a membership showcase with ourselves, which is something that we do with our power members, which allow them to just basically tell us a little bit about them, their experiences, who they are, and actually to add value as well as they share their knowledge and what they've gained throughout their experience, because Ewoudt not only has those certifications but also has over 10 years experience working in the digital agency background and has now moved into the corporate area as well, so brings lots of stories and experiences and valuable information that we can all benefit from in the community. Now, Ewoudt is going to be here today to let you know about his experience with DMI, and so thanks very much for joining us today. I know you're coming all the way from tuning in from South Africa, so not too much of a time zone difference, but there is one. You're slightly ahead of us.
That's fine. No, not too bad to manage at all.
So Ewoudt, the first thing I was going to ask you to maybe explain to people is why you decided to learn and certify with the Digital Marketing Institute in particular.
Okay, great, Caroline. So thanks again for the opportunity. So just a little bit of context. So my journey actually started in an interesting way. I was doing lecturing, digital marketing lecturing for a few students here for different institutions in South Africa. And actually what happened is I came across the course through one of those associations. And then I found the DMI through that. And I was really, honestly, extremely impressed with the quality of the content at first glance. Then I decided to sign up for my own course. Started with the Certified Professional in Digital Marketing course. And that's kind of where the whole journey started. So actually found it out through a secondary party that was more of a referral, and then from there I started the exploration personally.
Perfect, and that gives us a nice background into how you located us, but I suppose be interested to find out about your experience on the program as well. So how would you describe your learning journey?
Okay, great. So Caroline, as you know, there's lots of different courses that you can do in digital marketing, right? I think there's one thing, if you just do a search online, the quantity of courses and the quantity of resources really is endless. But that by itself presents a challenge, right? Because you want to make sure that the content that you are producing does stand out and that it is well differentiated. And I can honestly say that from a DMI perspective, it definitely is. And I think one of the key things in terms of my experience from a learning side that really was a differentiation for me, as being a distance and online learning platform, it's very important that the course content is developed in a way where it really holds your hand through the learning process. And I think, especially when we talk about digital marketing specifically, it is very complicated, right? Let's talk about SEO or Google Analytics as an example. Highly technical, and it really is quite hard to teach that skill to someone, and it's also constantly changing. So what I found about the course that was really, really great and fantastic is firstly the quality of the content and just the way the learning experience was set up, with the quizzes that you are constantly doing, the video tutorials, then you've got the revisions that you can do. It all just adds up to a really great enriching learning experience that as I was learning, I could test my learning and by doing that solidify and ensure that I really understand what I've just been taught and the video classes that I've gone through. So for me in general, the overall learning experience was really well put together and very professionally put together.
Thanks, Ewoudt. Did you find that the learning that you were undertaking in it was both, answer the question of theoretical and the practical? Like, were you able to take the learning and then go and implement it as well into what you were doing in your job?
Yes, definitely, Caroline. And I think that was one of the things that I also really enjoyed. And look, this is tricky with digital marketing, right? Even from a theoretical perspective, is that there's base marketing principles that you can apply to the world of digital marketing, but the rest of it is all ever changing. It's constantly dynamic. So even that theoretical foundation is constantly changing. So if you're not applying that theoretical knowledge, you're not going to learn how to use the platforms. And what I found from the DMI courses is that because it's being constantly updated, the theoretical knowledge that they're teaching you is always in the context of a real world scenario of how the platform currently works, of what data is currently available on Google Analytics. And even the examples that they use, in terms of the different types of tools, the different types of technology, it's all aligning to current best practice. So it's not like you learning a textbook on digital marketing where you've got, yes, this is the basic theoretical principles, but all of the examples are out of date and it's not relevant to today's marketing world. So I think because of that combination, both on the theoretical side and on the practical side, the quality of the content is very high.
Thanks, Ewoudt. That's great to hear. And I suppose, what was your favorite part of the course as well? Like, what did you enjoy most about it?
So I think for me, the part that I'm the most interested in and where I need to learn also a lot more of is the CRM, direct marketing, email marketing aspect of digital. And even in my current role, you alluded to that in the beginning, that's becoming a big part of my day-to-day. And that course, just as a foundation of giving me that background, because it's not something that I've done that much on, to be honest, before in my career. It's been a great foundation for my new role because a lot of those principles and those practical applications that I did in that module is now directly relevant to what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis and what I'm expected to do on a day-to-day basis. So that in particular has been extremely valuable because it's really helped me as a springboard in my current journey.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love the way you mentioned email marketing there, because I think particularly over the last 12 months, at first, I think it was because, resources were stretched, budgets were tossed aside till we saw how things actually went, and email was a cheap and effective way to communicate with our audiences, that people actually went back to that and went back to looking at email marketing as a fundamental part of their digital marketing strategy. And that actually the impact has really shown how effective it is. So it's actually continued to grow and progress in trajectory, which is why if any of the guys here are interested, we've reacted to that by doing 2 webinars on it, creating both a blueprint and then also showing how to optimize that, and that's available on that resource areas that the guys showed earlier. Now, Ewoudt, I'd love to hear your advice as well. Like, this is obviously a virtual open day for people who are looking at and potentially looking at doing the DMI Pro in particular. So I suppose, based on your experience, what advice would you give them?
So I think, Caroline, and I think this is relevant to any type of course that you do online, it's very, very important that you also are constantly applying it directly. So obviously there's a lot of application that's built into the course, which is fantastic. But I really have to urge people that as far as possible is find opportunities to also do your own personal application. And I know that's difficult because it depends on your context, right? If you are not currently in a specific role where you can directly apply, then that becomes tricky. But then what I would suggest is set up your own, almost like test platforms, your own personal social media accounts, create your own blog, even if you don't have a blog, but create the blog, set up Google Analytics for it, and actually do your own reporting, do your own content, and just go through the process. I found that if you've got the actual real life scenario to apply that knowledge on, the learning is just so much more immersive.